name is Soshi. My reaction after watching Walk Out the film will have to be a mix of emotions. I will say that I almost cried. Um, it was a very emotional ride for me, really, because I had never seen a film that was about like fighting for rights, right? I had seen like other films in the past that had Latinos in them, but it was never to do with a film that had to do with important events. Um, which is really sad because I grew up watching films about like other cultures that were talking about like um, getting civil rights and stuff, which is like makes me think like that I grew up thinking that we weren't a part of the civil movement, that we weren't a part of changing the current conditions that we have, like the rights and sense. So I would have to say that going back to the readings, the idea that these propositions and laws are still in place that are actively implementing these ideologies that were literally talked about in the film, from not speaking Spanish in the classroom, from being punished for embracing your culture, from teachers even feeling that they were like above Latinos and being like, oh, they don't even belong in college. Shouldn't be inspired to go to college. They should just work these lower class jobs. So that's something great to pull from the readings, because we have to remember these students may have grown up thinking these ideas, and that we have to be the people to encourage them to go out there and put themselves out there and do new opportunities, even if maybe there isn't someone who looks like us in that position or someone that is famous in that position. So that's something great to think of that. The question did ask something about white streaming, in the sense how did the white persona affect the film? I will say that the father, I don't know if it's true that the father wasn't behind the daughter and the mother was, which is something that's like the majority of the time both parents don't agree with a daughter, for one, coming up, especially in those times, coming up and wanting to start a movement. So I wonder if the parents were actually behind students, because I do know that, no offense, but if my parents were very when they went to school and they learned that my teachers would like punish me or give me like bad grades because I did something small, like talk during a lesson, or I needed to go to the restroom, they were angry. They were like, we're not gonna let you treat my daughter like that. We have as much rights as any other parent, to like ask you to act appropriate and to give my child the proper rights, right? So I think that, I don't know if it had to do with the white streaming in the sense, or if it had to do with the actual, like, the drama, because I think parents are way more likely to step in early in the movement than they did in the end. And I also think that I don't think they would have let their children be beat, or like let the consequences be like, oh, they were just brown, like in that sense. Um, the last thing that the question asked was on the reflection of how I felt and how it contributed to identity and culture. I think it contributed significantly, because we don't just get to see the stereotypical Latino that we see in films. Like, I was talking to one of my fellow peers who was like, I've never seen a film like this in my life, and I was telling her that I also had never seen anything like this, something that represented me to my core. And I told her that the only movies that I can think of that I was like, I would watch when I was little, that was like, oh, that's someone brown, that's something that happens in my home, was either like Sangre por Sangre, or some of those Cholo movies that were like, whoa, great movies that were watched by the majority, of course, white people, because it's something like taboo to them to be like, oh, parents accept like gangsters and stuff like that. But that's one of the biggest things that I saw. Also, the idea that they talked about literature and poetry, and how the majority of students now don't like it, but I know that there are these powerful pieces that motivate students. Like, even the biggest example here at ASU, if you go up to someone and ask if they know, I think her name is Rita Peterson. I am somebody. when I came in, I will be somebody. When I get out, I will be somebody. Something along those lines. Like, that is something that most of us remember from watching it. Like, any teacher has showed you that, right? And that piece that he said, I think, was amazing and makes me think back to, if you haven't heard of, I think it's a song or a poem, it's called The Man in the Glass, and it talks about a man who looks into the mirror and realizes that his identity is nothing that he ever wanted to be, and he realizes that he is wasting his life just being this person that everyone else wants him to be. So that was something that I remembered when I was watching the film, and he was reading the poem and he was saying, I'm Chicano, I'm Latina, and I was like, dang, I've never felt so connected to a film more. Like, I was emotional because of it. So, thank you for listening to my ideas, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye!